This way? It's over here. All right, let's go.
Spot is just up there.
Are you sure we'll be able to see?
Everything. What happened?
Dr. Grace?
Good morning, Detective. Lovely spot for it, at least.
I understand the boys found a human skull?
Indeed, they did.
Oh.
The rest of the bones are scattered around the area. I should think animals are the likely culprits, but until I clean and piece the skeleton back together, I can't say for sure.
Any preliminary thoughts?
Given that the body was unburied, and considering the warm, damp spring we've had, this man could have died anywhere from a few weeks to a few months ago.
This man? You've determined gender from the skull?
Not quite. Not very feminine.
I see. Thank you, Doctor. Boys, what were you doing in these woods?
Nothing. We were just playing.
Gentlemen, I'm a detective with the Toronto Constabulary. It's your duty to tell me the truth.
It was his idea.
Tattletale?
What was his idea?
It's just, I've never seen a girl like that before. Except my sister. That doesn't count.
Girl like what?
Over there.
The following program contains scenes with nudity. Viewer discretion is advised.
You there? Yeah. Another peeping Tom, are you?
Sir, I must insist you put on some clothing.
Then I must insist that you leave.
Detective Μέρντοχ, Toronto Constabulary.
You are trespassing on my private lands. I am the one who can eject you for your judgmental morality.
Fine. Does your property extend beyond that ridge?
Yeah, all the way to the main road.
Well then, I regret to inform you that a human skeleton has been found on your land.
It will have nothing to do with us.
That's a very definitive response.
I purchased this land from the city, March of this year. Obviously, I would have noticed had there been a dead body decomposing since this time. Now, if you will be leaving, your comprehensive attire is making our residents uncomfortable.
Your residence?
This is a sanctum for those who wish to practice the Nackkultur philosophy. Here, we have managed to achieve the ultimate goal. A self-contained community where people can live together in their natural form.
But why?
It is so obvious, it's astounding that humankind has ever lived in any other way. Clothing is, by its very nature, unhygienic, unaesthetic, and of course, undemocratic.
That's a very grand statement.
All life on Earth comes from the sun. But we cut ourselves off from this with these layers of clothing. We eat having ears.
Come join me for a swim in the river. You'll never want to leave.
This man is a detective, Hannah. He is not here to be enlightened.
Oh. Such a shame.
Does your philosophy condone open relationships between the sexes?
Not in the way that you think. Men and women live together in understanding and acceptance. The body is not forbidden when it is unclothed. In our natural state, all perversions dissipate. It is utopia.
Helmut, you didn't tell me we had a new member. My apologies, sir, for not meeting you sooner.
Detective Μέρντοχ. Meine Frau, Irene. She will see you out.
Of course, I'll just need to put something on first.
Of course.
We must make concessions when dealing with the outside world. Arthur, calisthenics in 10 minutes.
Not today. If he doesn't start participating, I will have no choice but to ask him to leave.
Helmut, we decided to allow people to adapt at their own pace. That was part of the problem in Germany, wasn't it? Enforced ideals?
Yeah. Detective, we are a peaceful people. There's no interest in harming anyone. We simply want to be left alone. Good morning.
Skeleton on our property. How horrible.
Your husband didn't seem particularly concerned.
Helmut is not one to show his emotions, and as you can imagine, he's somewhat suspicious of outsiders.
How many people live here?
At present, we're about 20, but we've had many come and go.
Has anyone ever gone missing?
Not to my knowledge, but we don't monitor our members. We're a free society.
I'd like to see your records.
We're not a school or a hotel. We don't keep records.
Then I require a list of everyone who's ever stayed here before.
You surely can't believe one of us is responsible for that poor soul. Read this. It should quell any further suspicions you may have.
The Perry Review is coming here to Toronto. I don't speak French, Henry. Look at this. They left their skirts, George, above the knees. Bare legs? How many women exactly? I'll get us the tickets. You have some money.
Henry, I must. I have a lady friend. I need to protect my reputation as a gentleman.
Krábtri.
Sir.
I'm out of scotch.
Already, sir.
She's a demanding mistress, son. Oh, bloody hell.
I am here to see Thomas S. Brackenreed, and I demand an audience.
Can I help you, miss?
Jean Hamilton. I must speak with the inspector on an urgent matter, but he is conveniently not in. Again.
Perhaps I can be of assistance.
I shall only deal with the inspector.
Close call.
Sir, why not simply tell Miss Hamilton that you're otherwise occupied?
Well, then she would tell Margaret, and that bench would become my bed. Oh, you'll get it when you're married, Murdoch. So what's this I hear about a bunch of people running around with no clothes on?
Oh, yes.
You saw them, did you?
Yes.
In the flesh? So what do we know about the dead man?
Not much, I'm afraid. We're unable to determine who he was or how he died with any precision. Some money.
So not a robbery?
Newspaper articles.
Am I interrupting?
Julia.
Ah, Dr. Ogden. Enlighten me. Why would any sane person want to strip down and run around while completely sober?
Are you referring to the naturist colony in the Don Valley Woods?
You know of it?
One of their members, Hannah Rice, was a patient of mine.
Ah, that explains it.
Of my former medical practice. She made it sound quite compelling. I admit a certain curiosity to try it for myself.
Julia.
Is that their manifesto?
In nudity, there is equality among the classes. Well, they're a naive bunch.
Naturism is based on the philosophies of the German pundit Heinrich Puder. The idea is to connect to nature in the hopes of finding health and social equality. Nudity, exercise, and vegetarianism are the main tenets, I believe.
It is as important to remove foreign bodies in the form of meat, alcohol, and tobacco from inside the body as it is to remove artificial coverings from the outside. Bloody hell, that's no life.
Vegetarianism has been around for centuries. Such a diet can be quite beneficial and rather tasty.
If you say so, Doctor.
William, I only have a moment. Would you walk me out?
Yes, of course.
William, I've spoken with Darcy. He's consented to the divorce.
So he's prepared to weather the scandal.
He wants to resolve this as much as we do.
So how do we proceed?
Darcy is the only one with grounds to petition, so we must provide him with whatever he needs to proceed.
But Julia, we aren't guilty of adultery.
Yes, but we must prove that we are, or the petition will be denied.
Right. What sort of proof is required?
I'm meeting with my solicitor this morning to discuss the finer points.
Julia.
William, we will get through this. Now I really must go.
That's the last of him.
We don't have his right arm entirely.
Only from the elbow. Honestly, we're lucky to have found this much. Oh, look, George. There appears to be a nick in his third costal.
Oh, yes. I think you're right.
Costal is Latin for rib, George, over here.
Oh, his costal, yes. Detective, I was just helping Dr. Grace piece together our victim here. Many hands make light work and all of that.
Well, that's very kind of you, George. Dr. Grace?
Our subject is male, approximately 40 years old. Cause of death seems fairly clear. This man was shot through the heart. The bullet entered here and lodged in the scapula here.
I see. And the bullet?
It must have fallen out of the body during decomposition. The bullet is still likely at our crime scene.
The remains were scattered over a fairly large area.
The bones of the torso were found by the water's edge, if that helps.
Still, it will take considerable time to find an item so small.
Not if we use the induction balancing machine.
Oh, really, sir?
Yes.
Where are you off to?
Oh, sir, I'm to meet the detective.
Give it to me, Cramptree. I could do with spending a little more time in the field.
Oh, sir, you won't want to with this one, trust me.
Oh, I said, give it to me. I can manage a little romp in the woods. See if you can manage things around here, starting with that concerned citizen.
Sir, you must keep up your pedaling to maintain the electrical current.
Bloody hell, Murdoch. We've been at this for hours.
It's been 7 minutes.
7 minutes? Does this contraption even work?
Yes, sir. The electrical current creates a magnetic field that can only be interrupted by the presence of metal in the soil.
I need to take a break.
No, sir, don't, please don't stop. I think I found something. Not the bullet, exactly.
The following program contains scenes with nudity. Viewer discretion is advised.
It is probable that this prosthetic arm did belong to our victim.
What can you tell us about it, Doctor?
I confess I'm not an authority. Remarkable. Where exactly did you find this?
In the mud. Is that important?
Gentlemen, I can't promise this will yield us a clue, but this arm is a rare treat indeed. A textbook example of adipocere.
Queen's English, please, Dr. Grace.
It means, Inspector, that the victim's flesh has been preserved. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a lot of work to do.
It is simply immoral. The goings-on at the music hall are barely acceptable on the best of nights, but this, it's outrageous.
Miss Hamilton, I see your point, and it's an excellent point. But I cannot stop the Paris Review from coming to Toronto, nor can I stop people from going to see it.
Might I remind you that it is your duty...
Yes, well, there are 2 prosthetic manufacturers in Toronto. One uses wood exclusively, and the other I've yet to contact.
Raise our children decently when our streets are filled with licentiousness.
Miss Hamilton.
Look at this poster. It shows a woman's bare legs. It's unacceptable.
It is just a drawing.
It is a public affront, and it must be dealt with. Immediately.
Thank you for seeing us, Dr. Rico. Do you recognize this?
But of course. This is one of my finest. You know, I'm the only one in North America to use the revolutionary Vangetti method, taught to me by Giuliano Vangetti himself.
I've only heard of this in theory. Dr. Vangetti devised a way to use the contractions of the surviving musculature of the limb to enable manipulation of the prosthetic.
Very impressive, Senora. And quite correct.
Do you know who ordered this particular limb?
I can tell you in a moment. Each limb is carefully calibrated to its new owner. Ah, si. Un moment.
Imagine a man-made limb that moves almost like the original. Thank you so much for inviting me along.
I thought you might be interested.
How well you know me.
See, I remember this gentleman. He was American. I fitted him for the arm on March 3rd, and he picked it up April 14th.
April 14th.
Yeah.
Did he give you a name or an address?
Zachariah Marsh, care of the Palace Hotel.
We now know Zachariah Marsh was murdered sometime after April 14th, long after the naturists had moved on to the property. But even that date doesn't help narrow our list of suspects.
Given that the naturists have created a place of refuge, perhaps the killer sought out the community as a place to hide.
You think the killer might still be among them?
It's certainly a possibility. He may believe that leaving now would be more suspicious than staying. William, I met with my solicitor. The requirements are rather more involved than I had hoped.
The evidence, you mean?
We need hotel ledgers, witnesses, correspondence detailing the adultery, details that must be published in the national newspaper for 6 months.
Julia, how on earth do we...
Not we. I alone am assuming full responsibility for the divorce.
What do you mean?
I will weather the embarrassment of it. I'll make all the arrangements. I chose to marry Darcy alone. I must make it right alone. You're to stay out of it.
Julia.
I have given this a lot of thought. It's unfair to burden you. I won't besmirch your name or put your career at risk.
You have to name a correspondent.
And I shall, but not you. William, I'm quite determined. Yes, completely cover the legs. Constable Krábtri.
Doctor. Detective?
George, what are you doing?
I am...
He's upholding his oath as an enforcer of the righteousness of this fine city.
As I can see. George, I need your assistance on an urgent police matter.
I apologize, Miss Hamilton.
Nonsense, Constable. Tonight we will deal with a nightclub on Young Street. It's blaring some vulgar music called ragtime. It sounds like pure sin.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Not a worry, George. I need you to go to the Palace Hotel and see if they've kept any of this man's effects, Zachariah Marsh.
Sure.
Oh, Inspector, you must take a look. Do you see that? The cells have burst.
I suppose that's significant.
It means the dermis was exposed to extremely low temperatures.
It was frozen.
But not solid, only up to the intermediate layer of skin. He was exposed to below freezing temperatures, but only for a short while.
Frozen. Outdoors, but only for a short while. I think I know where to look next. Well, come on then. Murdoch! Dr. Grace has found us a piece of the puzzle.
My examination of the preserved tissue showed that the cells had been frozen post-mortem, but because only the dermis showed signs of freezing...
That's just the middle layer of skin.
The logical conclusion is that a rapid and brief drop in temperature caused the damage.
The Meteorological Society has given us this chart of recorded temperatures for the past year.
Do any days match the criteria after April 14th?
Only one. April the 15th, starting at 2 a.m. It only lasted for a few hours, and the temperature hasn't dipped again since.
So Zachariah Marsh received his prosthetic arm on April 14th, and then died later that same night.
Poor bugger. A brand new arm and barely a day to enjoy it.
Mr. Lindemann.
Detective, back again. What now, a corpse in our chimney?
I wonder, do you recognize the name Zachariah Marsh?
I do not.
I'll need a list of everyone that was here on April 14th.
I will not expose our members to your tyranny. Thank you to cease this blatant harassment of our community. No more.
Oh, hello. Did you change your mind about joining our little gang?
Not at the moment, thank you. I believe we may have a friend in common. Dr. Julia Ogden?
Such a kind spirit. You must send my regards. She deserves infinite love and joy.
Miss Rice, do you recall where you were on April 14th?
How could I forget? That was my first day here. We were like pioneers, the five of us. It was so beautiful. I've never felt such peace.
The five of you?
Yes. Helmut, Irene, Declan, and Arthur. And me, of course.
No one else was here?
No, not a soul.
Thank you.
What do we think? The German?
Without knowing Zachariah Marsh's connection to any of them, I'm afraid we don't have much to go on.
Sirs.
Ah, George. Do you have Mr. Marsh's effects?
I do. You're not going to believe what I found out about him.
He was a Pinkerton.
What?
Not just any Pinkerton. Zachariah Marsh is the man who took down the infamous Rooster Gang. Texas, 1889. He single-handedly killed them all in a wild shootout. But he didn't survive unscathed. A stray bullet took his right arm.
So he was a Pinkerton and a Wild West legend?
Yes, sir. You see, the Rooster Gang were a notorious family of thieves, a gang of 4 brothers. They were the scourge of the West. They would steal a man's money and then take his boots to prevent him giving chase. It's ingenious, if you ask me.
How do you know all this, Crabbtree?
Through my research, sir. I was tinkering with the idea of setting a novel in the Wild West. Our hero would be the young deductive type, about my height.
Do we know what Mr. Marsh was working on before he died?
Yes, sir. He was tracking a confidence trickster, a fellow by the name of Sherman Green, wanted for insurance fraud in Boston.
Perhaps he tracked this con to the naturist encampment.
Marsh must have been discovered by this Green fella and then killed to keep his secret identity safe.
Well, we know Marsh was on the trail of a man.
So that leaves us with 3 possible suspects. What do we know about them?
Aside from their names, sir, nothing.
What about the Pinkerton case?
Well, sir, Marsh tracked Sherman Green from Boston to Montreal. And he's also been linked to fraud cases in Philadelphia, New Orleans, Chicago, all in the past year.
But no mention of Toronto.
Green's been known to use several aliases and has been heard speaking in various accents.
So that could be anyone. Let's start with Lindemann. Bring him in.
Sir, these people don't trust outsiders. They're not going to talk to me. They're even less likely to speak to you. What we need is someone on the inside.
Someone they haven't seen before.
The following program contains scenes with nudity. Viewer discretion is advised. All right, George. It's just like taking a bath, but without water.
Hello?
Hello.
I'm Irene, Helmut's wife.
Henry Higgins. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
And please, relax. We're all equal here in God's image. We have a full schedule of tasks and exercise and hope you'll participate fully. Here, we're all committed to the same goals, health and vitality.
Yes, because I work as a footman in a grand house, you see. I rarely get out of doors. I was born
We leave our restrictive past behind with our restrictive clothing. This is your chance to be born a new self. You owe no explanations.
You know what? That sounds perfect.
Toronto Gazette.
You can set up your tent here, and the daily schedule is posted by the main tent.
I'd very much like to meet your husband there, Mr. Lindemann.
Helmut is about to begin our water calisthenics. He'll be happy to meet you later.
How did the two of you meet, if you don't mind me asking?
He was speaking outside Union Station about his vision for this place. I just knew everything he was saying was right. He was so passionate. We were married within the fortnight.
Is that right? Mm. And what part of Germany is he from?
We don't speak of our pasts. We're happy together now. That's all that matters.
I suppose this would be a good place to hide one's secrets.
This is a good place to become one's best self. Take Declan. He arrived drunk, weary, riddled with infirmity, in search of a safe haven. Look at him now. It could be your safe haven, too.
I've sent Jackson to dig up the sale of the naturist land. I don't trust that Lindemann fella. So what's all this then?
Sir, ink from the newspaper article has transferred to the inside of Mr. Marsh's wallet. Now, it's too faint to see against the dark leather. I'm hoping to lift the ink. I've mixed an elastic polymer in with the wax.
Elastic what?
Polymer. In this case, the element of rubber allows the wax to stretch. The ink should transfer to the wax, and the presence of the polymer will allow the wax to be pliable enough to peel off without crumbling.
Could I take some of this putty home for the boys, Μέρντοχ? It's just a kind of silliness.
Sir, please. It isn't a toy.
Hello there.
Eins, zwei, drei.
You're new here, are you? It takes a bit of getting used to, but it beats the world out there, that's for sure.
Huh. Personally, I'm trying to get away from the evils of drink. Whiskey. It ruined me. It was my whole life. I used to drink it out of a teacup so no one would notice.
I was a bourbon man myself.
For me, it was the traveling, you know. A long night on a train without a drink. I couldn't abide it.
I wouldn't know anything about that. This is about as far out of the city as I think I've ever been.
Is that right?
Henry, I need you to go to the Toronto Gazette. I need you to get every article that has the words daring and stole in it, starting from March.
Yes, sir.
Racing, isn't it?
There's nothing like a swim to restore the body.
Certainly beats traveling the dusty roads.
I never leave the colony. The outside world is corrupt, the oligarchy, and rich industrialists.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. The insurance lot are the worst of the devils. I think they should be swindled out of the money they plunder from innocent people.
Crime does not effect change. It only serves to alienate das Volk, the people, even more.
You're German.
I am from mankind.
Quite so. Have you seen much of North America? Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia, New Orleans?
Do not ask what you have no right to know.
Make sure Worsley reads this time.
Inspector! How unusual to see you here.
Miss Hamilton, I wish I could say the same.
I trust you know there were boys playing ball in Hyde Park last Sunday. Explicitly breaking the law for everyone to see.
I was not aware.
Where is Constable Crabbtree? I intend to deal only with him.
I'm afraid he's engaged in police business. Off the premises.
How disappointing. He's the only reliable man in his station house.
Inspector, you have a telephone call?
Ah, now, if you'll excuse me, Miss Hamilton.
Oh, I apologize. Oh, Dr. Ogden.
George.
What are you doing here?
The same as you, I imagine. I must say I'm impressed by your open-mindedness, Constable. You seem to be embracing the spirit of the colony completely.
Dr. Ogden, I am working. We're trying to uncover a murderer. I must insist that you leave at once. It's not safe. If Detective Μέρντοχ knew that you were here, knew that I saw...
Yes, perhaps we'll keep this just between us. And I won't compromise your investigation. You have my word.
Thank you. I've been swimming in the cold river.
Oh.
The Pinkerton agency just telephoned. Sherman Green, the insurance con man, was caught in Boston. He never came to Toronto.
And what was Marsh doing in Toronto? And what led him to the naturist camp?
Change of lifestyle?
Henry, have you found the article yet?
Not yet, sir. As you can see, there's 3 editions a day.
Right. The newspaper article from Mr. Marsh's wallet is our only remaining clue.
Right, everyone, drop what you're doing and help Higgins find this article. Carry on.
Hello there. I'm Henry. I don't believe I got your name.
Didn't get it.
It's beautiful here. I prefer to Chicago or Boston.
Don't mind him. He's so unfriendly. He even prefers to live alone in an unpleasant cave across the river.
Why did he come here in the first place?
Everyone here has a reason to reject the outside world as it is. I try to be friendly, but he just wants to be alone.
You don't know where he's from, do you?
I think somewhere west of here.
Sirs, I found it.
A daring daylight robbery occurred yesterday at the Hay & Sons Pharmacy on St. Clair Avenue. The thief not only took the contents of the safe, but also stole Mr. Hay's boots. Mr. Hay told police he was unable to give chase due to his stocking feet.
His boots? Where have I heard that before?
From George.
Yes.
Zachariah Marsh supposedly killed all of the Rooster Gang. This article would suggest otherwise.
So Crabtree's going up against a gunslinger.
So it would appear.
The following program contains scenes with nudity. Viewer discretion is advised. Sir, I apologize for the attire, sir. It's the best I could do.
It's all right, George.
Sir, my investigation's come to a standstill. Not one of these suspects appears to be Sherman Green.
That's because none of them is, George.
Sir?
Sherman Green was arrested in Boston. Mr. Marsh was here for another reason. To finish off the Rooster Gang.
The Rooster Gang? You think one of them survived and is here?
Apparently so, George. Obviously, it isn't Mr. Lindemann.
Well, it isn't Declan Black either. Apparently, he's never left Toronto in his life.
Well, that just leaves Arthur Gibbons.
Yes, sir, it must be Gibbons. Apparently, he's from out west. And he's very secretive. He's definitely hiding something.
All right. We'll bring him in for questioning.
Sir, as you yourself have said, these people are not likely to talk, and we haven't a shred of evidence. I'm sure I could find something, but only if I remain one of them. Sir, let me do this.
Are you sure?
George?
In here?
I was just...
I don't know where you came from, but here we respect each other's privacy. I'm gonna have to tell Helmut.
No, please.
I have no choice. You obviously can't be trusted.
I promise you, it's not what it looks like. Just let me explain. Irene, I'm a copper. I've been sent here covertly to look for a criminal.
Hey, is this about the skeleton the police found?
You can't say anything to anyone, not even to Helmut. If Gibbons is the man we think he is, he's very dangerous.
But he's such a quiet sort.
Apparently Arthur is the member of a gang of outlaws.
Well, now that you mention it...
What? If you know something, you have to tell me.
I did see Arthur burying something in the clearing behind the cave.
Irene, I need you to get to the main road. I need you to get a message to Detective Μέρντοχ at Station House number 4. Tell him to come here at once.
Of course.
What do you think you're doing?
Arthur Gibbons, I am with the Toronto Constabulary. Just come with me quietly, and it will go all the better for you.
I'm not going anywhere.
He was gonna kill you.
Okay, thanks.
Henry? Any information on Arthur Gibbons?
I just have, sir. He's from Vancouver. He enlisted in the army to fight in the Boer War, but he's missing from his regiment.
He's just a cowardly deserter. He's not a gunslinger.
So if the outlaw isn't Helmut Lindemann, Declan Black, or Arthur Gibbons, then who is it?
Thank you for saving me. You're quite the shot.
My brothers taught me.
That's quite the scar you've got there.
It's a childhood injury.
Jackson found the land sale receipt.
So Lindemann didn't buy the land, his wife did. Only she purchased it under her maiden name.
Irene Lecoq.
Where did she get the money?
Henry, do we have anything on Irene Lindemann's background?
No, sir.
Lecoq. French.
Yes, sir. French for rooster. George.
Where did you say you grew up, Irene?
Here and there.
With brothers, you said. Moving from town to town?
Something like that.
You killed him, man.
Arthur was going to kill you.
You killed him to close the case so he wouldn't come looking for you. You've killed before, haven't you? Zachariah Marsh.
Who?
The Pinkerton agent. He killed your family in front of your eyes, left you with that nasty scar as a souvenir.
That snake only cared about the fame. He took everything from me.
I had nothing to live for after that day. Until I met Helmut. He gave me a fresh start.
You were stealing just a few months ago.
Only to buy Helmut this land. I just needed another $50. It was the only way.
That's how Marsh found you, isn't it? He read about it in the paper, the stolen boots.
Old habits. But I'm not that person. I'm not a thief anymore.
No. You're a murderer.
I can't let you ruin everything. Not after all I've done to stay.
I wish I didn't have to do this, but I won't lose my life. Not again. George, are you all right?
Sirs?
Krábtri?
William!
Julia.
You look a disgrace, Krábtri. Fix your uniform.
Oh, sir, this collar's so tight. And, sir, you wouldn't believe the warmth of the sun, the cool breeze on your skin. You can't imagine how freeing it is.
I saw enough to imagine it all too well.
George.
Hannah.
I'm sorry your wife refused to speak with you.
I had hoped for an explanation. I can imagine that she was not sincere in her beliefs.
It seems she wanted a new life, and you were able to give that to her.
Yeah, it was a paradise. Our own Xanadu.
I understand you'll be leaving us.
The purity of our community has been tarnished. Only Hannah wished to stay on the path with me. We're going south, somewhere where we can be free, all year long, without restrictions.
I hope you find such a place.
Thank you, Detective. Viel Glück. Good luck.
You know, Hannah, I almost didn't recognize you with clothes on.
To tell the truth, I can hardly keep myself from ripping them off right here.
I couldn't bring myself to put on my underclothes.
Me neither. Heathens! Reprobates! Miscreants, degenerates! This city is doomed with moral guardians like you.
What was that all about?
I think I'm not the man she wanted me to be.
It was good to know you, George. Take care of your health.
You too.
This place.
William. I'm sorry I'm late. I trust you've forgiven me for earlier.
Julia, I've reserved a room for us at the Queen's Hotel.
William.
Under both our names, we'll both sign the ledger.
William, I can't ask you to be involved in such a sordid task.
Julia, I am involved. There's no question. We both are. In this and in everything.
Queen's Hotel. Everyone will see us.
Witnesses, a signed ledger. That should be all the evidence you need.
Are you quite sure you want to do this? You know there will be no going back.
I'm sure.
So you're prepared to spend the night together?
I've brought dominoes.